Okay, can everybody hear me? Shayon, am I clear? Great. It's good to see everybody. Good to see everybody. If you can hear me clearly, let's give some emojis there so we know everybody is on and everybody can hear and everybody is comfortable. We're gonna have a beautiful evening. Good to see you, Lucas. Good to see you. Good to see you. Good to see you. Phyllis, it's good to see you with your husband. I saw your husband somewhere. Yes, Mike, I see you. Good to see you guys. Angie, good to see you. Good to see you. Dr. Alice, good to see you. Rama, it's good to see everyone. I may not, on my screen, I may not see everyone, but if I don't mention you by name, please just know that we appreciate you. We love you. It's good to have you. You know, everybody, it's good to see Coach Nelius in the house, always on time, always very excellent, and we appreciate her. It's also good to see Pastor Christine is in the house. We appreciate Pastor Christine. Let's appreciate Pastor Christine, please. Let's appreciate Pastor Christine. Let's appreciate Pastor Christine. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Oh, wow. Good. So it's another evening. We're going to hang out. We're going to hang out. Milton Keynes, guys, if you're there, can I get an emoji from Milton Keynes? At least like a raised hand so that, yeah, I see you, Charmaine. I see you. Where is Bryce? Where is everybody else? If you can tag them or maybe drop them a message, it will be good. And for Milton Keynes, I'd like to know if somebody is coming late or if somebody is missing a class. I'd like to know in advance. JRC, if you're here, let me have an emoji. If we have anybody from JRC, um, yeah, Rahmat, thank you. It's good to see you. Good to see you. Thank you. Thank you for representing. Everybody else is going to find us as we go. Everybody else is going to find us as we go. We have quite a lot to cover today. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be beautiful. Thank you so much for hanging out with me tonight. And I'm also very, very privileged to hang out with you. Remember, this is a chilled class. We are relaxed. Although we are learning very serious stuff, it's a relaxed evening. It's a family evening. It's a relaxed family moment. We just get to talk, you know, and deliberate on a couple of things. But out of our discussions are gonna come out very, 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 very serious things. And so I want you to take the classes very, very seriously. At the end of this session, I'll give a platform to two questions. So the first to shoot, the floor will be open for you. We want to hear, so keep your ears open as we discuss, as we talk. If you have any question, quickly note it down. We're gonna have about 3 minutes, 1.5 minutes, 1.5 minutes for a question at the end. Today is quite some marathon to cover, but it's very, 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 very crucial. So we're gonna head on straight. Thank you so much for creating time. If while the class is going on, you wanna grab a glass of water, that's okay. But just make sure you don't miss what's happening. If you can focus for the next 1 hour, it will be best so that you might never hear this again. So it's important that you give it the best attention that you can, and absorb as much as you can. So today, I want us to begin the journey of self-discovery. Okay, self-discovery. It's called identity and self-awareness. Identity and self-awareness. After this class, you will be a very different person. So get ready, come along with the ride, absorb everything, watch everything I say, imagine it, see yourself in what I'm saying. Don't just listen to me like it's a story. No, we are designing you towards an intended end. So I want us to begin that journey of self-discovery, because one of the saddest things in life is actually not death. It's living your life from or with the wrong identity. Okay? You see, the wrong identity is like living in the wrong house. So we know your house, but you're not living in your house. You're living in a different house that we don't know. So whenever we want to come and visit you, we go to your house, but you're never there. That's the tragedy of living from the wrong identity. A person who does not know who they are, they actually become easy to control, easy to intimidate, easy to distract, easy to deceive, easy to use and manipulate, easy to dump, and easy to destroy. Okay? So, identity, brothers and sisters, is a matter of life and death. Your identity is a matter of life and death. When you do not know who you are, people feel free to name you. Culture becomes permitted to name you. Pain begins to define you. Failure and trauma, yours and the trauma of those closest to you, begins to dictate, begins to compete to name you. Social media and trends begin to dictate loudly what your name should be. And before long, you start existing within a monstrous construct of a lie. Okay? You begin to live your life from a lie. And because you don't have the data to define your identity, you actually don't even know that you're operating from a lie. It is possible to live your entire life, 50 years, 70 years, 80 years, and never encounter the real you. And that's a tragedy. I meet a lot of people, and in the first instance, I can tell this person does not know who they are. It's possible for you to get married, have children, have grandchildren, live to be 80, 90, and never have an encounter with yourself. Never get to meet you. And so today we want to avert that danger by beginning to introduce you to yourself. Okay? It's very important that we bring you and introduce you to yourself, so that as I hold your hand and bring you to you, and I begin to point out who you are, then you begin to have an image, a picture, a mental memory of who you truly are. Now, your life cannot rise above the level of your self-understanding. To the extent you understand yourself, your identity, and your self-awareness, you cannot rise above that. No matter how much you pray and fast, no matter how much we counsel you, no matter how much love you receive, you cannot function above the understanding of yourself. You cannot build a strong future on a weak sense of self. You cannot make even weighty decisions when you're still borrowing your identity from friends and relatives, from trends and wounds and public opinion. Who you are is what determines the level at which you transact with life. Okay? Who you are. So you don't go and transact first. No. You first discover yourself, you see. Because $100 note cannot buy what $1,000 can buy. Okay? The value of $1,000 is different from the value of $100 bill. Its identity, the identity of $1,000, is locked to that value. But the identity of the 100 locks the value of the 100 to the 100. The $100 bill cannot behave like 1,000. Why? Because its identity locks its value. So the value is locked within the identity. Unless we change the identity, we cannot extract value that is higher than the identity. You see it? So it is until you know who you are that your decisions then begin to gain weight. We begin to receive you with clout and weight and honor and respect. It is until you know yourself that your boundaries also begin to gain strength. Your voice begins to be heard and your life officially begins. Okay? If you're not sure of who you are, you actually have not begun living your life. So the faster we escalate this matter and hold your hand and begin to show you your identity, we are not just solving identity, we are actually launching your life so that you can begin living. Until you know who you are, you're not allowed into circulation. Until the note of $100 is defined as the value of $100 bill, it's not permitted into circulation. It has to be printed, given a value of 100, and then what follows is circulation. We cannot go into circulation until the value is determined. So what then is identity? Identity is the unique set of attributes, qualities, traits, experiences, and characteristics that relate only to you. I'm going to repeat that because it's important. Identity is not just a unique set of attributes, qualities, and traits. No, it also includes the experiences and the characteristics of your background that can only be relatable to you. It's the collection of the characteristics that uniquely and collectively draw a picture of you. And therefore, identity then is the understanding. It's an understanding that you need to have. It's an understanding. It's a mental understanding of who you are based on that data set that I have just defined, both as an individual and also as a member of the groups that you come from, the people you proceed from, the communities that have shaped your life. So your identity is not just how you look and how you feel. There's also an aspect of your identity that is defined or extracted from the groups you come from the background you come from, and from the experiences you have collected over time. They form part of your brand. So identity extends beyond you. You do not exist in isolation, okay? Your identity is personal, but it is also social. I'm introducing that very carefully because that's where a lot of people get lost. They think identity is just me. No. Identity is also social. It's a social construct. It's also a concept you have gathered, as you have interacted with people and groups of people that has been around you. So who you are is connected to where you belong, who surrounds you, and how you see yourself among those people. Okay? Don't worry, the picture will take shape. I needed to introduce that bit of the social connection because that is actually the bit that destroys most people, because they don't perceive it as part of their identity. So identity is like a compound with several houses. There's the main house, and then there are the extensions, the servant quarters, the garage, the garden. But all of them form the compound. You cannot say the garden is not part of the compound. No. we have to consider the garden. We have to consider the servant's quarter. We have to consider the extension that you built 2 months ago. It's also part of the compound. So identity is so much bigger than yourself. So identity can be viewed as that compound. In a nutshell, your identity is made up of you and by the different parts of your life, which is your family background, cultural background, your ethnicity, your relationships, your experiences, your environment, your personal interests, your values, your beliefs, your personality, your race, gender, your religion. These things create an interplay that defines the unique identity that is you. So you could be struggling with your identity, but because you didn't know the components of this identity, you could not diagnose what is the problem with your identity. Okay? Now I've defined the panoply. I have set the stage. I have told you that your identity, in fact, your self-esteem, could be getting affected by just one attribute of this. Maybe your values are wacky. Maybe your beliefs are non-existent. Maybe you don't even know your personality and your temperaments. Maybe you are at fight with your race and gender and religion, and it's affecting your identity, your brand. You need to go to the race, to the religion, to the values, to the interests, to the beliefs. If there's a problem, sort it, and then you see it reflect on the goodness of your identity. So this means that when you think about yourself, you should not focus only on your personal characteristics. Don't just think about your height and your skin color, your gender, or your natural attributes. Identity mandates you to stretch your thinking capacity, to see beyond the walls of the imaginary you and look at your surroundings. That is also part of your identity. Many other parts of your life are actually shaping you, even though you are not aware. Find out these parts. Study your family background. Sit down now after this class. Begin to study your family. Why does your family behave the way it does? And what part of that behavior has penetrated into your life and is now defining you? Why do you behave like your grandmother? That identity has traveled through generations and is now manifesting and defining who you are. Yet, you have never taken time to understand why. You see, once you understand why, then you permit or disallow that aspect that is affecting your identity. Study your cultural and ethnic heritage. Do you know where you come from? What is your ethnicity? Do you even understand it? What is the history of your ethnicity? You should have data about that because your ethnicity is determining your identity. So study your relationships. Why are you always in toxic relationships? Why are you never in a fulfilling relationships? Are you the toxic one, or do you always end up with toxic people? Explain to yourself that. It's affecting your identity. So you need to ask yourself, why is this? Why is that? On your journey to defining your identity, you have to interrogate every bit of your life. So study also your experiences. Have you ever been molested? Have you ever been in a traumatic situation? That has data that has remained in you that makes you see yourself in a certain way. Travel back to that event. Study that experience. Maybe you were dumped 10 years ago and you have never been able to recover out of that first love dump. You need to travel back there and begin to deal with that situation so that your identity is washed. And as you move forward into the future, you're not carrying baggage that God didn't give you. Study the experiences, the trauma, the pain. Study your environment, your personal interests, your values, your beliefs, your personality. At our website in the school, we have a personality test that is free. Have you done it? Go and do your personality test. It's free. Do you know who you are? I am an architect in personality. I design things. I understand myself. I'm not very good at other things. But when it comes to architectural kind of thinking, that's my personality strength. So I operate from that strength because I understand that part of my identity. What is your race? Are you at loggerheads with your race? Do you hate being black? Why? Why do you hate being black? You are the best blackberry around, and you must make peace with that. Do you understand me? Are you okay with your gender? Or are you a girl thinking men are privileged species? Why are you contending with that? Focus on your gender and the benefits from that. You see, study your religion. How does your religion play into your life? Have you accepted it fully? Have you embraced it? How far have you embraced your faith and your values and the values of what you believe in? Why do you believe what you believe? Okay? So it's very, very crucial that you do that. When you ignore these parts or handle them carelessly, they affect the way you see yourself, whether you realize it or not. I'm going to pause there because I want you to think about that. How you believe, how you treat your relationship with God, how you treat your values, how you treat your environment, how you interact with your history, your experiences, your trauma, how you interact with it is determining who you are in terms of identity. Let me tie it in this way. Identity is like a picture frame or a framed picture. It's like a framed picture. God gives you the framed picture, and inside, He has painted you in all your attributes and characteristics that He designed you as the master builder. Your identity is like a framed picture. Your job is to discover what God painted and called it you. Before the world began to tell you lies, there is a picture God painted of you. If you study that picture early, you learn who you are and how to build your life well. If you ignore your God-given frame, pain, rejection, trauma, and other people's opinions begin to paint false pictures over the picture that God painted for you. And now, when eventually you want to discover your identity, you have to do a double job of first erasing what they painted on top of what God painted. And then, once what God painted is revealed, then you begin to study it. You see, you don't need to do that double job. Let me show you something. This is a framed picture. Let's look at this framed picture. Let's look at this framed picture. This is me in southwest London, about to take off on a chopper. It's a Robinson R44. So we are about to take off. We with a British pilot. We're about to take off. This moment is framed. Okay, the picture is taken, and the frame has been created around that moment in time. Now, the reason why this picture is framed is so that nobody in my entire life will ever come and argue and say, on this day, the grass was not green. The grass is green. I'm in a chopper. I'm with a British pilot. I can see some buildings at the back. I can see a blue door over there. This is an airfield. It's an airport in south west London. I remember this moment. is captured, is stored in history. Nobody can ever argue against this. This is how God did your identity. He painted it, who you are, all the details, your height, your complexion, your race, your destiny. He painted it in a picture and then framed it. The frame is the boundary, so you don't have to look outside the frame to discover anything to do with yourself. You just look within the frame. Now, if you don't take time and study the beauty of your frame, the picture God drew, the identity, the brand that heaven sat down and architectured and drew and then launched you when you were born by your mom. If you don't take time to study the details of the divine picture, people will come and paint this green into brown and say, the airport was very dry. You are in a desert. They will say, no. This is not a helicopter. This is a Volkswagen. And because you do not have a moment you spent with this frame and remembered and deciphered and interpreted this as a helicopter and this is a British pilot. If somebody comes and tells me, no, this guy was not British. No, this guy was American. If I didn't take time to ask him his name, I would agree with somebody who is telling me the pilot was American. But I took time. I spent some time with this pilot. And I remember his name. And I remember his story. And I remember he's British. That is how your identity is. What is your frame? The frame that God designed for you. Have you taken time to interrogate it and see it and accept it and praise God for it? Are you complaining you're black, or are you thanking God that you're black? You have to ask yourself those questions. So, for instance, let's give an example over here. For example, let us define the identity of a random, future student of the Ephraim Academy. We have here, I want us to employ our imagination, okay? We have here a future student. We have here a female student. She's a woman. She's a black woman. She's a British black woman of Caribbean origin. She's a Christian woman. She's introverted. She lives in London and has lived there since birth. She comes from a family of 3 boys, and she's the only girl and the last born. She grew up in a single mother's household. Her grandparents came from Jamaica to Britain as part of a generation called to help build the nation, yet were later neglected and pushed aside by the British government. Now, she stands as a 4th generation British black woman, still confronting questions of belonging, acceptance, and identity in society. Watch this. All these parts matter to this girl because they form the context from which she exists and from which she sees herself, how she interprets the world, and how she relates with other people. These things also shape how other people meet her, understand her, treat her, and respond to her. If you want to marry this girl and you don't have this data, you're setting yourself for disaster. You see how identity is important? So this girl has to be able to define that frame very accurately, because when she meets a potential husband, her marketing pitch should include all that data so that the recipient or the observer of her is able to see her in her true attributes and therefore receive her and accept her, or refuse to receive her and accept her. So all these parts matter. They form the context from where life is happening. So this is why identity and self-awareness matters. It's a matter of life and death. They become, identity and self-awareness, the reference point from which you interact with us. If you don't know yourself, we shouldn't be expected to know you. You should not blame people you have never introduced yourself to accurately. If you do not have a clear self-identity, all your interactions with the people, with money, with society, with work, even your interaction with God will become defective. See that? So you have to know, who are you? What makes you you? What makes you tick? Have you made peace with your height? Have you made peace with that? Have you made peace with your complexion? Have you made peace with where you live? Have you made peace with your background? Have you made peace with the fact that you were not raised by millionaire parents? Have you made peace with that? Let me tell you something. Some of your disadvantages are your advantages, but you have to make peace with it. I am happy I came from a humble background. Without that humble background, I wouldn't be who I am. And guess what? That humble background did not limit me. I came from a village where they sell illicit brew. If I stayed there, probably I would be one of the chairmen of the illicit brew of Kabuku village. But today, I'm in London, doing good, doing well, dreaming big, building big things. That background is part of my heritage. The skills I learned when I had to play soccer without shoes, when I had to play with my friends, when dust was all over, hungry until you cry. Now I appreciate when there's food in the fridge. Now I'm grateful to God. Before I have a meal, I say thank you. Because I didn't grow spoiled. My identity has been built over time. So have you made peace with your environment? Have you made peace with where you're coming from? Are you happy with you? Are you making the best of your opportunities? Who are you? What are your values? What are your attributes? What are your characteristics? Are you okay with them? So let's briefly look at the danger of misplaced identity. And listen to me, when we speak identity like this, if you're a businessman, I want you to see identity through the lens of a businessman, a businesswoman. If you're a student, see this from where you stand. This is not drafted for any age group per se. It's for anyone listening to me. Everybody needs to come face to face with their identity and begin to sieve through the nonsense, the darkness, the lies, the deception, the things that have been put on your picture that shouldn't be there, and remove them and begin to discover the picture that God drew. Okay? So what are the dangers of misplaced identity? Now, if you do not know these details about yourself, they do not stop being true. If you don't know the details of your identity, they do not stop being true. They remain true, even while they remain unknown to you. And even when you are unaware of those attributes that make your identity, those parts of your identity, watch this, are still broadcasting and communicating something about you to other people. You don't have an option. You don't have a choice. You have to visit each detail of your identity and make sure it is representing you accurately. Because whether you like it or not, whether you know it or not, each attribute of your identity is communicating and broadcasting data to other people, even when you are unaware. What this creates is a dangerous gap when you don't know the details of your identity, the attributes, the traits that are sending signals out. When you have not refined them and spent time with them to define them, it creates a gap because you're revealing things about yourself without realizing it, or without being in agreement with the data or the signals that you're sending. And others are responding to those signals even though you think you have said nothing at all. When you walk into a room, before you say anything, we have already interpreted you. We have seen your smile or the lack of it. We have seen the fakeness in your smile. When I shake your hand, I've already absorbed your energy. I've already, in a microsecond, calculated your confidence by the weight of the handshake. I can tell a lot by your eye contact. Your forehead, we call it the billboard, the human billboard. I can tell the past 15 years of your life by just looking at the sides of your eyes, at your forehead, at your lips. I can read you like a book. So there is data about you that other people are reading, and you don't even know that you're sending them the data. Okay? In another class, God willing, I'll teach you how some people are even gifted to read your spirit. They can pick data from your spirit, and you don't know that your spirit is telling them about your history, sometimes even all the way back to your parents, grandparents, great-grandparents. Your spirit is giving them data, and they begin to tell you about you, and you think they're prophetic. They just know how to read you, and you have not even discovered how to read you. Okay? The Bible says, allow me to quote this. The Bible says, who knows the things of a man except his spirit that is in him? Who knows the things of a man except the spirit of that man that is in that man? So if I come face to face with you and I can read your spirit can tell me a lot of details about you that your mind is yet to know. And I can now begin to inform your mind about details your spirit gave me. See, your identity is broadcasting a lot of things. There's a lot of psychology that goes on in the workplace, in the business circles. There's a lot of unspoken things that go on. And you have to be trained in a class like this to know how to broadcast confidence so that people do not steal your opportunities. It begins with identity. Understanding your identity means that you realize that you're bigger than the space that you occupy. Your presence can travel beyond the place where you're standing, like a signal, a cell phone signal, like a scent. You are reaching beyond the physical location where you're standing. People can feel your influence. They know your energy, your character. They sense your electromagnetic field, even when you're not in the room yet. Okay? So we have to train you how to make sure each part of you is broadcasting truth about you, so that people don't look at you wearing a suit, but they see you as a victim. People don't see you smelling nice and expensive, but they see you as prey. We have to train you how to broadcast authority. Your identity emits a signature, and you can emit power or emit victimhood without your knowledge. You can smell like prey to predators, and they can eat you alive, and you wonder why. You gave them permission without knowing. See, it all boils back to your identity. Why do people reject you? Why? What is it that makes people reject you? What is it they read before you say it? And they say to themselves, you are not the one they are looking for. What is that? We want to deal with it, okay? See, let me give you an analogy. There's a building in Dubai called Burj Khalifa, okay? Burj Khalifa, tall building, beautiful. If at Burj Khalifa, a small rat dies on the ground floor, at the corner of Burj Khalifa, it dies. That small dead rat occupies a few small square centimeters in one corner of one room on the ground floor of Burj Khalifa. But it can make the building, the skyscraper, several floors up, impossible to live in. Why? Because the effect of a small dead rat goes beyond the small space it occupies. That is the power of your identity. Who you are does not stay locked inside you. It spreads. It begins to announce you. It begins to broadcast you. People can feel your presence, remember your effect, and respond to the impressions you leave, even when you're not close. That is why you must be trained to leave the right kind of mark and impressions on people. You do not have the second chance to make the first impression. You must make the first impression the first chance you have it. And so, in training you on identity, we must begin to scrutinize the parts that constitute your overall identity. What makes your brand? Let's quickly look at how to interact with the many parts of yourself. If identity is the qualities, traits, experiences, and characteristics, you need to realize then there are parts of your identity that you cannot change. What you cannot change about you, you need to recognize, accept, and celebrate. You need to recognize, accept, and celebrate. The things you cannot change about you, this is what you do. You recognize them, you accept them, you celebrate them. If you cannot do those three things, your identity is on a wheelchair. You have to be able to recognize what you cannot change about yourself. You can't change your height. You can't change your complexion. Stop killing yourself, bleaching your skin. Celebrate the blackness. Celebrate it. Celebrate your shoe size. If you're number 2, it's number 2. There's nothing you can do. Okay? The small leg, your husband is programmed to identify you by your small leg. You don't have to kill yourself trying to do things you shouldn't be doing. Okay? For instance, your race, your skin color, your height, the features of your body, your natural background. These are things you should never be ashamed of or be at war with. If you're at war with what you cannot change, you are attacking your own identity. They are part of the reality of who you are. If you keep rejecting what is already true about you, you will keep fighting yourself instead of understanding yourself. Okay? I'm giving you secrets of how to upgrade your life. Stop fighting yourself. If the world is fighting you and you are fighting you, you don't stand a chance. At least stop fighting you. Accept the part of you that you cannot change. There is great power in embracing your God-given unchangeable attributes. In fact, your power is hidden there. Yeah, it's hidden there. It's hidden there. Do you know why people, if you're short, you know why people make fun of your shortness? It's a demonic tactic to distract you from the source of your power and your difference. You see, the unique attributes of you are your uniqueness. And your uniqueness is what gives you the rarity. It's what makes you rare in the market. And the rarer you are, the more value you can fetch. Let me give you an example of Judas and Jesus. Sometimes I like critical thinking. Sometimes I sit with my Bible and begin to question things and analyze things. And so the other day I was thinking, look at Judas. Judas was looking at Jesus and saying, this guy, he's been telling us he's the Son of God, okay? He's been doing miracles. People have been following him a lot. He has very high value, very, very high value. I think one day I should sell this guy. That's the reasoning of Judas. So Judas is looking at Jesus. They're eating, they're hanging out. He's one of the 12. He's in all the meetings. He's the treasurer. He knows all the money, where it is, where it's stored. He's in charge of everything. So he's looking at Jesus and he's seeing the value of Jesus and saying, I'm going to sell this guy one day. And then he sells him. The reason why I think Judas was a bad businessman, he was a very, very silly businessman, is because he sells Jesus, but he doesn't remember that Jesus promised to resurrect. So he sells him, and then he kills himself after selling Jesus. So Jesus is dead, and Judas is dead. If Judas was a wise businessman, he should not have killed himself. He should have waited for Jesus to resurrect. Now we have Jesus that is powerful, and on top of that, he is the resurrected Jesus. Now we can sell him again. Bad businessman. If Judas was a smart businessman, now he can sell Jesus twice. He can sell him one price and another price. Now this is a resurrected version. We can sell it now. Double the price. You see, the rarer you are, the more value you have. So the more you discover how rare your attributes are, actually the more value you accrue, and the more you can sell yourself of higher value. Okay? But if you don't take time to interact and study the rare attributes that make your identity, you will always sell yourself short. This is why you must give yourself a proper introduction to yourself. Do not wait for other people to tell you who you are. You should know yourself before other people start describing you. Listen to me, girls. No man should ever tell you you're beautiful. You should know. By the time they tell you, if they tell you you're beautiful, tell them, I know. It is not information, it is confirmation. I already know. And my question is, have you ever stood, for instance, in the front of a mirror and really looked at yourself? Or you are always shy and embarrassed about your body? What are your birthmarks? Where are they? Do you know them? You should know them. Have you ever looked at yourself carefully enough to notice the kind of person you're becoming? If you're embarrassed about yourself, how do you expect us to celebrate you? Why should we bend ourselves backwards to clap for you when you don't know yourself? People come to you based on what you're marketing. So take time and find out about your goods. You should know your appearance, your birthmarks, your strengths, your habits, your traits, your patterns, your strengths, your temperament, your personality. You should explore yourself carefully and honestly. Don't overestimate yourself. Know the true jewel that you are. You should discover what is natural to you. What do you do without effort? What is it that if we wake you up in the middle of the night, if you wake me up in the middle of the night and give me a microphone, I'm going to preach. That is me in my natural habitat. I love it because I've taken time to explore it and discover it. You should discover what is natural to you, what is healthy to you, what needs discipline and what needs growth. You should know yourself inside out and be excited about being you. Listen, there is no other John Dere in the universe that can beat me at being me. I love me. I'm not looking to be different. I'm not looking to be somebody else. I'm not copying to the Jakes. I am John and I am happy. I tell you, I'm happy about who I am. I love me. I celebrate me. If you doubt me, that is your problem, not mine. You see, the Bible says in the book of Psalm 139 and verse 14, I will praise you, God, for I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Marvelous are thy works. When I look at me and understand the fearful bit and the wonderful bit, this is my conclusion. God's work is marvelous, and that my soul knoweth very well. It is not enough for God's work to be marvelous. God's work in making me who I am, it's not enough for it to be marvelous because he did it. My soul has to know that very well. I have to interact with the works of God and inform my soul very well about the works that God did. So why, for instance, are you a moody girl? Do you understand yourself? Why are you always keeping to yourself? How comes you don't have confidence? What happened to you? We want to know. You need to explore and interrogate your life. What happened to you? Where were you molested? When? By who? Have you dealt with it? These are the spaces in this family where we're going to help you unpack the baggage. We're not carrying luggage anymore. We are unpacking it. You're not going to be burdened after this school. No, we refuse. We are going to unpack every baggage. We're going to travel light. Every burden that has held you down, we are dealing with it. We are training you to lay down the burdens of your life and begin to be happy and celebrate yourself. So self-awareness begins when you stop avoiding yourself. It begins when you look at yourself clearly, without denial, without shame, without pretending. What you refuse to know about yourself will still affect your life, and we don't want that to happen. What you fail to understand, you will fail to manage. And what you fail to manage may begin to control you. I'm winding up in the next 2 minutes. So if you have a question, I want you to get ready and shoot it in the next 2 minutes. So I want you guys to learn yourself. Study yourself like a course. Why are you doing veterinary medicine and you have never studied yourself? Why are you doing computer science and you have never spent a week alone, away from home, just studying yourself? Study your height. Do you know your height? Study your strengths. Study your smile. Study your confidence. Study your struggles. Study your gait. Do you stand straight? Do you bend a little? Study yours. Take a video of yourself. Study it. Listen to your voice. What is the annotation of your voice? Are you attractive? Do you find yourself appealing? Why? You see, sometimes I sit with myself like this, and when I find myself, for instance, losing track of my thought, instead of giving up and changing channels to watch something else or read something else, I begin to ask myself, by the way, why did I think like that? Why did I lose focus there? What happened to me? How long had I been focusing, concentrating? Why did I want to study myself. Listen to me. One of the best ways to appreciate God is to study yourself. You're the first miracle He created and gave to you. One of the best ways to appreciate God is to study you. Study yourself. Study everything about you. Your nails, your toes, your fingers, your height, your complexion, where you're going, the way you think, where you're coming from, your family, your genealogy. People should never be victims of things you have refused to deal with. Deal with yourself. Now, I'm going to stop there and take a couple of questions. But in the school portal, there's a little bit of more on the self-awareness, which I want you to go and study. All these notes, I've shared my presentation notes. Immediately after this, they will unlock. After this session, the notes will unlock. You'll be able to go through them, all of them, and be able to study yourself. I'm challenging you to take some time, spend alone with yourself, and meet you for the first time. Who are you? Nyakeo, who are you? Who are you, Phyllis? Who are you? If you can't tell me who you are, why do you expect me to know who you are? Tell us who you are. Cause us to meet you and celebrate that you were born. So identity is not just how you look and feel. It's where you're coming from, the environment, all those attributes. And then when you finish with those notes, there's a small exercise that you will do. It's all in the portal. It will help you grasp this topic better. Did you enjoy the class? Did you enjoy the class? Thank you, Coach Nelias. Thank you, Pastor Christine. Thank you, Shemaine. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Let's get the thank you, Lucas. It's good to see you. Tyler, it's good to see you. Eddie, it's good to see you. Good to see you. Veronica, it's good to see you. Good to see you. Question time. If you have a question, shoot it. Quickly, shoot it. We have 3 minutes. If you have a question, shoot it. Thank you. I'm ready to answer any question. Self-identity, self-awareness. Thank you, Robinson Chariot. Good to see you. Question. At least I should have a question from Nairobi and another question from the UK. I'm waiting for a question. Type it quickly. We have 3 minutes. Yeah. Okay. If you have an observation, have you discovered something? Raise your hand. You can also say something. I'm opening the floor. If you're there, shoot. Unmute yourself and tell us what you have learned. What is it you have discovered? Is somebody shooting a question? Is somebody ready to ask any question, any comment? The floor is open. Who is this? Jeanette. Yes, speak. Okay. Yeah, we can hear you, Jeanette. Shoot. I get your question, and that's beautiful. That's an amazing, brilliant question. Yeah. So this is it. First of all, you have to discover who you are. That template has to be very, very clear. That template has to be very, very clear. For instance, even if you join a new office, a new business, a new job, your identity as the way you are born, your height, your background does not change. Who you are, the parts of the groups you're part of, the groups you're coming from, the environments that helped you as you're growing up, those do not change. What happens is that your identity begins to take on a transition, not change, but transition. Identity is also dynamic in that it takes on fresh definitions of the same attribute. The same attributes begin to take on different definitions per time. Okay? So, for instance, when you're in primary school, you're still a girl, but now you're a girl who has makeup. The time has added makeup to you. The makeup is now part of your identity. Yes, we can identify you with makeup. But it's only because time has changed, the dynamic has changed, and now that identity, though it remains the same, it has taken on a new definition. So this is my answer. First, define the template, and then make your seasons relate to that template accurately without erasing the template. Now, because we have past time, I want to release anyone who would like to, leave the classroom. You're free to leave. God bless you. I'll stay here so that I can answer these questions. But if you'd like to stay behind, please feel welcome as I answer this question. But the class is open if you would like to leave because of time. So, Junette, that's how you do. Make sure you have a clear definition of who you are. And then each time something changes, make sure it does not erase the frame. For instance, you cannot leave Nairobi. Allow me to give this gross example. You cannot leave Nairobi and come to the UK and then become, this is a class, an adult's class. You cannot leave Nairobi. You grew up as a girl. You come to London, and now you start changing your gender. You see, you're going against your template. You see that? So even when you come to London and you find girls that are transitioning their gender, even though here nobody will judge you if you do that, or the judgment is less than in Nairobi, you don't do that. You stay true to your template, even though the options are now different, even though times have changed, you remain true to your template. So even in the office space, if you find yourself shaken by something that you have encountered, for instance, in a new office space, it is because you're not sure of your template. You have not defined your template accurately and authoritatively. So we need to travel back with you and define the parts that you're feeling are being threatened. Okay? Yeah, you're welcome. Okay. Bryce, what if my identity was distorted when I was young and I'm in the journey of healing, but my memory is affected? How can I work to restore my memory? Now, I know I'm trying to understand that question in this context, and correct me if I'm wrong, that you are part of a history, but you don't know the entire history. The history you don't know, you can always find it out, okay? With the help of the Holy Spirit, with the help of friends, with the help of relatives, you can discover the missing bits of your history. But also remember That, for instance, in the case of Bryce, I know you're a born-again Christian, there is a book called the Bible that has defined who we are. And we can take our picture, our frame from that book, even as we travel towards understanding the physical history of where we are coming from. Now, if there was abuse in your past, that abuse needs to be isolated, studied, researched, addressed, and then we need to hold your hand and migrate from that event in your history, and then we can come forward. Okay? We don't want you circulating around an event that has held you captive for all these years. And also, your soul, if there was an aggressive event that happened to you, a traumatic event, your soul will always want to go and triangulate around that event because it feels emotionally connected to it. So, because your soul is not locked in time, it can travel back to your childhood to sob and cry around the traumatic event that happened. We have to be able to extract you from that scene of accident and cause you to depart from there and bring you to your future and keep you in your future. So that event in the past, you're allowed now to only look at it from the side view mirror. We don't have to drive back. So it's a memory that is no longer invoking an emotional reaction. Okay? So we need to isolate those items and address them part time. Okay, Bryce, I'm committed to you, man. And if there are things that need that kind of exposure, expertise, we are here to help. We will extract you from those events, those memories, so that you can begin to experience the present fully and be fully present. It is not your fault that you were abused. It's not your fault. So we are not going to punish you until now. We're not going to allow punishment to follow you until now. Yet you are not the bully. You're not the bully. You're the victim. The bully cannot bully you, and then we allow you to bully you. No. We have to remove you from that event. Okay? Kezia. Thank you so much, Bryce. I'm so proud of you, man. Thank you for that question. Robinson. Where's Robinson? Robinson. I'm not seeing a question from Robinson. Okay, ask. Robinson, ask verbally, and then we're going to go to the written ones. Okay. Okay. That's a brilliant question. How do you correct yourself? How do you recover yourself if you have misread a professional setting? Okay? If you have misread, not just a professional setting, even a relationship, you can misread a relationship or a partner. You can misread a lot of things. How do you recover yourself? See, when you walk into any scenario, any situation, whether it's a job, professional, whether it's there are people even in university doing a course they should not be doing. They are wasting time. They are wasting their years because they shouldn't be doing that, because it's inconsistent with who they are. How do you recover yourself from that? I take you back to your template. How adequately aware are you of your template, of who you are, of your inclinations, your proclivities, your value system? How in tune are you with yourself? Because sometimes we find ourselves in situations, for instance, in that professional setting, because of money. Because of money. There's pressure. That's the only job available, but it's inconsistent with who you are. Now, I'm not asking you to do illegal things. We are talking about inconsistency with your identity, moving into a professional setting that is not exactly who you are. You must make a mental note that though I'm in this thing, it is not permanent. Why do I say that? Because if you stay in the wrong environment for longer periods of time than is necessary, you will lose yourself in that environment. Yet, you are the person the environment needs, is not the other way around. So make a mental note that I have put an expiry date to this event. Put an expiry date. Say, I'm going to be in this job for the next 2 years and not more than that. Once you do that, all your systems begin to create the reality that makes sure you will not have to compromise further than 2 years. Then live true to your word and withdraw yourself from that place that you misread. The next time, make sure that you read the settings correctly before you engage. Make sure. How do you do that? Consult. Talk to 2 or 3 people. At the witness of 2 or 3 people, every matter should be established. Never believe in yourself 100% in terms of decision making. Have a second opinion, a third opinion before you engage. Okay? Have I answered you, Robinson? Thank you. And that's a brilliant question. Actually, it's a very deep question. And I'm very proud of you that you asked that. That's a very intelligent question. I love it, love it, love it, love it. Okay? Yeah. So let's go to Kezia. Kezia. How can I distinguish between my true identity and the version of myself I have unconsciously shaped to meet societal expectations? Brilliant. This is a dilemma of many people. Many people are living a lie. Many people are living under peer pressure and beer pressure. There are many people living a lie. They picked on the definitions that people gave them and began to be that. Listen to me, and listen to me keenly. Every Ephraim student from today, I'm giving you permission to learn to say no. Say no. There is always a warning before you take on things that are inconsistent with you. The alarm will go off. Yeah. Before you date that guy that is wrong for you, something will tell you there's a red flag. Don't ignore the red flags. Don't ignore them. Learn to say no. In fact, you have to learn to say no even sometimes to people that matter to you. Your parents. Let me give you a good example. My father wanted me to be an accountant. He had this grand plan of me being an accountant. It's because his mentor, his role model was the late president of Kenya, Mwai Kibaki. So he would tell me this: I want you to be an economist like Mwai Kibaki. That time, Mwai Kibaki was the Minister of Finance. So he would tell me that story. He loved Mwai Kibaki. So he would tell me, I want you to go to London School of Economics like Mwai Kibaki. Now, I love my dad. I respected him. But let me tell you, the first day I sat and tried to do accounts, it tasted like the sweat of Goliath. It tasted bad. I hated it. I couldn't tolerate that. It smelled bad. I didn't want any accounts. And so I discovered I love my dad, but I hate accounts. And so I had to sit down with my father and tell him, you know what? I love that, but that's not what I feel I'm wired for. If I do it, I'll be doing it to please you. And so my dad, being very intelligent, he told me, whatever you want, I'm going to back you up. And so I started pursuing being a pastor. Guess what? He wanted me to be in London doing economics in London School of Economics. I'm in London doing the kingdom of God because I learned to say no. You see? I'm giving you permission. Listen to me, people. I'm giving you permission to learn to say no and not explain. Say no. Just say no. If the person is important, explain. But I want you to be comfortable in your own skin, to always sit back and know what is wrong with your life and withdraw yourself from places and spaces that no longer serve your interest. Okay? You must be able to withdraw yourself. The other thing, KZ, I'll tell you, every so often, maybe once a year or once every 2 years, do a self-appraisal where you sit down with yourself, go through your phone, and delete people that no longer serve your purpose. Delete behavior from your life that no longer services your future. Evaluate your life, appraise yourself, reset your life, and bring yourself back on track and keep traveling. You have to be able to recover yourself at a scheduled time along your life. Schedule it. Say, every year in November, I will appraise myself. I'll sit down and do a self-appraisal and delete what I don't like. Every 3 years, I will sit down with myself and evaluate every aspect of my life. How am I doing financially? How am I doing relationally? How am I doing? How are my relationships? Is it time for me to disconnect from that person? Is it time for me to quit that job? Is it time for me to move to another country? If you don't schedule things, I learned from a mentor of mine, he's called Bishop Dale Bronner. He said to me, only what gets scheduled gets done. So Kezia, there is your answer. So how do you distinguish between your true identity and the version of yourself that you are unconsciously picked up from societal expectation? Do the appraisal. As you sit with yourself alone, you begin to notice, this is not me. This is not me. You find yourself, you have been drinking. Then all of a sudden you will say, what? This is not me. Where did I pick this from? I don't smoke. Why do I smoke? Where did I pick this from? Until you're able to sit down and do an appraisal, you can never have those reconciliatory thoughts come to you and then empower you to take action. Okay? Thank you very, very, very much. Nyakeo, I've been looking for you, Nyakeo. Nyakeo. This is a wonderful woman of God, Mercy Nyakeo. My question is on the change of personalities. You prefer your former personality, but somehow you don't know how to get back because you are not so sure on what led to the change of it. Beautiful question. Beautiful question. So, in other words, what you're saying here, Nyakeo, is that you have found yourself you're different. You don't know when the difference happened. You have a recollection of your former self. And it seems from this question, you don't like your current version and you want to go back to your former personality. Brilliant question. How do you do that? Okay. Now, you have used a very important word there, personality. Personality. Your personality does not change. Okay. Now, your behavior might change based on circumstances, pressure, expectations. For instance, you can become short-tempered because you are under pressure, because you took on a job that has begun to affect how you react. Okay? So that is not change of personality. Your personality has not changed. It is change of circumstances. So you don't need to study your personality. You need to study your circumstances. Remember, your identity is not just affected by your personality, it's also affected by your environment. So what most likely has happened to you is that your environments have introduced stimuli that has begun to cause you to behave in a certain way that you don't like. So you don't interrogate your personality, you interrogate. For instance, you interrogate your environment. For instance, go back to the day you remember the personality you like, and then do a log, do a write-up of what has changed in your life since that day. That is the data set that you need to study, because it is what has interfered with the personality that you like. Okay? The disruption has a beginning. Travel to that beginning and study what has happened. Have you changed jobs? Have you dated a guy? What has happened? Have you taken on a leadership role? Has your prayer life gone down? What has changed? Okay? And then begin to interact with that. Once you're able to zero down and pinpoint the causal thing, then you're able to restore yourself. Always be ready to push the reset button. Okay? Nyakeo, I hope I've answered you. For Nyakeo, anything. For Nyakeo, anything. Okay? For Nyakeo, anything. How is Oasis? For Nyakeo, anything. We'll answer your question. I hope I've answered you. If I've not answered you, please remember that our admin, Mentor Grace, is on call, is on WhatsApp. Reach out to her, schedule the Design Your Life episode. It's a personalized 1 hour with myself, where we sit down and design the next 5 years of your life. Okay? So reach out to Mentor Grace. She's gonna help you. Okay, one last one. Okay, before I come to Kezia, one last one. Let's go to Mungai Doris. Okay, to add to Kezia's question, how can one work on knowing themselves if they have been living and doing everything to please the parents? Wow. And because of fear of the judgment that comes after. That's a very sad state of affairs. Okay, and I feel you. I really feel you. I really feel you, because living your life to satisfy somebody who is dominant or insensitive can be very suffocating, and it can make you lose yourself, especially if that person is a person in authority. You can lose yourself. You can actually completely, absolutely lose yourself. Let me give you an example. Let's laugh about this. I grew up in a church. When I was growing up, I grew up in a church where we used to tie, the women used to tie their headscarf. Okay, we used to be like that. We used to be very holy people. We used to beat the drum like this. Believe me, you're seeing me in London. If you give me the drum like this one, I'll beat it. You will not believe it. I grew up like that. And so we grew up in this very, very strict home. We grew up in a very strict home. We grew up in very strict church. Very, very strict. Now, I love my pastors from that church. They are still alive. They are still my buddies. They are wonderful people, because they inculcated in me discipline, the fear of God. But one thing I'll tell you is that when we grew up to a certain age, I saw my sisters remove the headscarf and plait their hair. They cut the chains. They said not anymore. See. I don't want you to get there where you cut the chains. I don't want you to get there. I want to train you how to negotiate your way out. There is always a way you negotiate your way out. The reason why I would prefer you negotiate your way out is because there are positive things that this kind of relationships, especially with parents, there are good things. There are good takeaways from that relationship. And you should be very, very, very grateful for those good things. You will realize that those good things, although they were very strict, they will preserve your life for many years to come. Okay? So it's not entirely bad. It's good to a certain degree, and we must celebrate that. But now you must begin to sit with yourself, not from a rebellious heart, but from a curious heart, and begin to discover your picture, your frame. Begin to discover it courageously. Now you are in a space here where you're safe. We can hold your hand and begin to define that frame together and hold your hand so that you are not running away, rebelling from your parents. No, it is a handover, takeover process where they hand you over to another authority that safely redefines your scope and helps you understand your frame. Okay? It's very, very important that you don't introduce disruption or chaos into that transition. No. Transitions are very sensitive. We have to be able to pick you and safely transition you to your new frame and make sure you're not bitter because that life trained something you will need in the new life. Okay? Even if you think your parents were Hitler, you think your dad is the Antichrist. No, there's something he trained you. There's something your parents trained you that you will need moving forward. So, I don't want you to get upset. I don't want you to feel agitated. No. We don't do that. We appreciate where we are coming from. And now that the opportunity has presented itself for you to discover yourself, thank God. Imagine there are people who will grow to be 80, 85, and they have never had an opportunity to sit down with themselves and discover themselves. Be grateful that now you have an opportunity to look at the frame and see the picture of you. And you're surrounded with a support system that can help you now interpret accurately what is in the frame. And guess what? You also have come of age in terms of emotional maturity to be able to understand your frame better. Okay? So it's plus. It's advantage. We are never disadvantaged. It's always advantage. Okay? Doris, that's a beautiful question. Beautiful question. Okay? Let's see one last one from Kezia. How can I understand my identity independently of the roles and labels I've been assigned by family, culture, or society, like firstborn daughter, or pastor's kid, or lastborn? Those things, I don't want you to run away from them. They make you who you are. Being a PK makes you, it's part of your identity. Explore it. Don't be scared of it. It's not a label. It's a reality. You're a pastor's kid. You're a PK. It's a reality. Don't see it as a label they put on you. I know you didn't apply to be a pastor's kid. I know you have had to share your parents, for instance, with a congregation. You didn't like it. You would have preferred to have your dad to yourself. But there are these thousands of people who also call your dad. That is not a disadvantage. That is an advantage. I don't want you to call them labels. That is a change you need to do. Don't call them labels. Don't call them roles. They are developmental opportunities to help you discover your strengths. The roles you are given is because they saw a strength you didn't see. So that role is not a disadvantage. It's actually an opportunity to see what other people are seeing and you're not seeing. Now, begin to look at that role and travel backwards. Rewind the tape until you arrive yourself and ask yourself, what did they see for them to make me the CU chair lady? What did they see? You will begin to discover yourself. And now the role is not a bother, it's a doorway to blessing. Because now you discover yourself through that. If you're a firstborn, my apologies. There's nothing you can do about it. You're the firstborn, you're the firstborn. Okay? So take it up with grace, with pride. Discover that every opportunity that God gives us, for instance, to be a firstborn, is because it is exactly the right set of circumstance that will prepare you for your purpose. Okay? So it's not a disadvantage again. You just need to interact with it with grace and know what it brings, the advantage it brings into your life. Okay? So I want you to change the frame in your mind. Don't call it labels or roles that they put on me I didn't want. No. God authorized it because that is the doorway you are going to discover yourself quicker and faster. So it is actually a blessing in disguise. And I want you to begin to thank God for it. And don't call it a label. Don't call it a role or responsibility assigned to you. Okay? Now, when it comes to culture, I thought about this, and you see the society, those ones you have to be careful about, because you have to be able to see culture and society like a mob. Okay? Always look at society like a mob. One of my mentors, Dr. Geoffrey Griffin, told us one day, he said to us, he would say this over and over, he would say, never be part of a mob. Why? Because a mob thinks using the brain of the most stupid person in it. That's why a mob will kill a person in 2 minutes and burn that person. They are using the brain of the most stupid person in it. When you look at society and how you interact with society, you must look at society like a mob. Okay? Like a mob. Society will call you the worst name, not the best name. So be careful what society calls you. Be careful what haters call you. Be very careful. Don't listen to it. But how do you mitigate from receiving what they're calling you? Call yourself the right thing before society attempts to call you the wrong thing. So who are you? Call yourself the right thing. Call yourself the right name. So that when they call you something that is inconsistent with your frame, you can go back to your frame and say, the pilot is British. He's not American. And now, all of a sudden, your life is restored to the safe, truest setting instead of a label being stuck on you that does not belong to you. If society says this grass is not green, you can go back to your frame that you defined, that you received from God. You understood, you studied, you embraced, and say, no, my grass is always green. You see that? Very, very, very crucial. So society and culture, always look at it like a mob. Even social media, always look at social media like a mob. They will never tell you the best thing about you. Did you know, for instance, social media, everyone that you see on social media, everyone, as you're scrolling like this, everyone you see is wearing their Sunday best. They are wearing their best clothes. You see that picture they posted? They took 50. That was the best. They posted it. Everyone that has posted, they took hundreds, tens of pictures. They took the best. They edited it with AI. They applied makeup. They softened their lips like this. Makeup, nice. So everybody has put their best pictures on social media. And you're there scrolling and comparing everybody's best moment with yourself in a night dress that is torn. And you're calling yourself poor or low or disadvantaged by comparing your reality, the real you, comparing it with what people took weeks to prepare to take a picture of. See? So always treat social media, culture, society like a mob. They will never applaud you. They will never cheer you on. They will always tell you the wrong things. They will always tell you bad things to hurt you. They will always even when they tell you something that sounds nice, that thing rarely leaves you feeling nice, especially when it has to do with your identity. Okay? So know where you're getting your content from, your information from, and that's awesome. I had only given 5 minutes of questions. Now it's going to 40 minutes. Coach Nelius, please give us closing remarks. The rest of the questions I'll answer them